Okay, so the objective here is going to be to show different ways to find the limit of something. And what we'll find is that there are three ways to do it. The first way is to do it numerically, and this is generally by looking at a table of data. The second way to do it is graphically, and this is by looking at a graph and determining what the limit is. And the third way to do it, and we'll cover this later on, is algebraically. And so in this video, what we're going to do is we are going to go over this way and this way. So let's go ahead and just start off with an equation. Let's say that we're asked to evaluate the limit as x approaches 1 of a function x to the third minus 1 over x minus 1. And so just like before, we'll draw our table. We have x and we have f of x. And I'll just go ahead and draw a table here. And we're looking at when as x approaches 1. So here's our 1. So I'll start off with x is equal to some value relatively far away from 1. So maybe x is equal to 0.9. And then I'll get a little bit closer to 1, so 0.99. And then I'll make x a little bit closer to 1 and make that 0.999. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each of these values of x and plug them directly into my equation and see what comes out the other side. And so what I'll do is I'll find that when x is equal to 0.9, f of x is going to be equal to 2.710. And when x is equal to 0.99, I plug that in here, I find that f of x is going to be equal to 2.970. And if I plug in this value into our equation here, I'll find that f of x is equal to 2.997. And so once again, it seems like as x approaches 1, so as x approaches 1 from the left, it seems like our value of f of x approaches 3. And so we'll put a 3 here with a little question mark. And then we'll do the same thing for the other side. So let's go ahead and do that here. I'll have my table. Here's x, here's f of x. And we'll start relatively far away from 1, maybe at 1.01. And then we'll get a little bit closer, maybe 1.001. And then we'll get really close to 1, 1.0001. And just like before, we'll plug each of these values in to our original equation here. And we will tabulate what f of x is for each of these values. And so, I'll go ahead and erase a couple of things here just to make it clear. When x is equal to 1.01, f of x is going to be equal to 3.31. When x is equal to 1.001, f of x is going to be equal to 3.03. And when x is equal to 1.0001, f of x is going to be equal to 3.003. And so we could say that as x approaches 1 from the right, we can say that f of x approaches 3. And so we can see that as we approach 1 from the left and as we approach it from the right, it seems like f of x is approaching 3. And so the way we might write this out is that the limit as x approaches 1 of our function x cubed minus 1 over x minus 1 is equal to 3. That's the way to figure it out numerically. This is a numerical solution.